Dear colleagues, we continue our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and I might give the floor to Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Today, in Ukraine, we mark the Day of Special Forces. For the first time in the history of our country, this holiday unites all special forces who carry out most difficult military tasks. Special forces is the elite of the armed forces of Ukraine that can effectively destroy the enemy and to find strategic information. We greet our special forces. Let nobody interfere with their work in the shadow. And now about the situation in the ATO area. In Lugansk area, the enemy violated ceasefire twice in the region of Lopaskino village. Both shellings were delivered in the evening and didn't last long. In Donetsk area, during the last 24 hours, the geography of the military actions a little bit broadened, and they renewed active military actions at the front line Troitske, Lugansk, Zaitsevo, and Mayorsk. Traditionally, the militants are active during dark hours. During the day, the enemy repeatedly shelled our positions, and sporadically they used APCs and mortars. And because of this, civilian facilities damaged. One private house was damaged. An enemy mine got into a roof. The epicenter of the military actions is Avdiivka production area. The enemy shellings lasted from 10 in the morning till 9 in the evening. The heaviest shellings were during the day. The enemy repeatedly used mortars, and it launched about 30 mines at our positions. In Donetsk airport, it was rather quiet. On the whole, in the Donetsk area, there were 33 enemy shellings, including 7 with the use of heavy weapons. Mariupol area, the enemy returned to its tactic of systemic violations of ceasefire along the front line. In Mariinka, there was a number of mortar shellings and military clash that lasted for 3 hours. Also, the militants used mortars in Krasnogorovka and Vodyane. And at other parts of front line, the militants didn't use heavy weapons, but they delivered disturbing fire with the use of grenade launchers and small arms. On the whole, in Mariupol area, there were 20 enemy shellings, including 4 with the use of heavy weapons, and 1 military clash happened there. The enemy carry out air reconnaissance, and near Bakhmutska highway there was an air drone flight, and also 2 air drones were observed in Donetsk and Mariupol area. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, no Ukrainian serviceman was killed, but 3 servicemen were wounded. All this happened in the course of shelling. Also near Krasnogorovka, 2 wounded and 1 near Pavlopol. Losses of the enemy: 3 killed, 8 wounded. These are the members of the 3rd Brigade, also 9th Brigade, and 9th and 11th Regiment of Russian occupation forces. SBU officers found a cache of ammunition in Lugansk area. In the suburbs of Tryukh-Izbinka, there were 8 grenades F1, 7 grenade-launched shells, and more than 2,000 cartridges of different caliber. Also, SBU identified cameramen of telecommunications who provided communication lines to LPR. The officers carried out search in offices in Kiev and Kharkiv, and also in the houses of managers of the enterprise there. They confiscated documents that testified their illegal activity, also large sums in hryvnia and foreign currency, and more than 5 kilograms of gold. Sea Breeze 2016 training continues. At several parts of coastline in the south of Odessa Oblast, land stage of training started. So Yuri Alafirenko, Armed Forces of Ukraine ship, and Whidbey Island, Armed Forces of the United States ship delivered special forces, a joint unit of Ukrainian, Moldovan, and Georgian units, and also American Marines were present, and also American instructors provided training for Ukrainian Marine Force instructors. They shared their experience. Also, a composite company of the National Guard forces marched from Mykolaiv to Odessa Oblast. They arrived at a new place of deployment and they served on duty. And in the morning, the guardsmen supported the landing of the Marines. And due to good cooperation and professionalism, this was a successful operation. And the Ukrainian communication officers improved their skills using ATO using NATO experience. Signal troops of Air Force of Ukraine rehearsed deployment, use, and transfer of units and lines of communication. This is all. If you have questions or comments, please. Thank you, Colonel. Now questions. Please introduce yourself first. Lena Shulek, Reuters. About the situation in Sumy Oblast. In Ukroboronprom, what happened, what are the regions, and what are the main developments? We do not have information on this. There are representatives of prosecutor's office and law enforcement SBU, and now investigation is on the way as to the reasons why it happened, and also they interview people who witnessed this tragedy. And once the information is provided, at least preliminary information, we will tell you about it. Thank you. Do you have other questions? If there are no, the press conference is over. Thank you. Next event is